Hagler and Leonard and Duran and Tommy Hearns and those kind of fighters. And by the way, Sanchez and Gomez and the great fights from years ago. This is one of those, and you're all a part of it.
When we talk about the golden eras of boxing, the names come alive. Hagler, Leonard, Duran, Tommy Hearns. And beyond them, legends like Salvador Sanchez and Wilfredo Gomez, who painted the ring with unforgettable wars. Those nights weren't just fights. They were chapters carved into boxing's eternal history. And now, another such night stands before us, and you are witnessing it unfold. They say the true fight doesn't start with the opening bell, it is born in the silent mornings. When the world still sleeps, and two men, unknown to each other yet bound by destiny, rise separately to punish their bodies with unrelenting discipline. It is forged in sweat, hunger, sacrifice, the torment that transforms men into legends. Inside this sacred grind, Terence "Bud" Crawford and Canelo Alvarez entered their separate worlds of ritual. Each camp became its own universe, sealed off. A camp, and more like a transformation. He wasn't just moving up in weight. He was sculpting himself into a new weapon for battle at super middleweight. Every pound added wasn't careless bulk, it was strength balanced with speed. Muscle built without losing the razor edge of precision that had kept him unbeaten. His trainers became architects, fine-tuning nutrition and conditioning so that the weight he carried translated into firepower, not fatigue. Sparring against bigger men, he tested his body against size and pressure, proving to himself that agility could coexist with force. Every round sharpened his greatest gift, the ability to vanish and reappear, striking before the opponent even knew where he had gone. Across the battlefield, Canelo's camp echoed a different kind of mastery, one born from years of experience, victories, and reinvention. His preparation was measured intensity, a blueprint he had perfected over countless wars. Yes, he drilled the fundamentals: pads, mitts, the heavy bag, but in between came drills that reminded everyone watching. This was not just another fighter. This was a veteran genius. Every movement spoke of instincts earned from climbing through divisions and standing under blinding lights. His training was not just physical. It was psychological, reminding his body and mind of the identity of a man who had fought them all and survived.
Give me the 200, bro. Go. Uppercut, catch up.
For there were moments in Canelo's camp that went beyond expectation, like the sight of him kicking a soccer ball, not for show, but to sharpen footwork, to train the eye-hand connection, to keep rhythm alive. It was a glimpse into the truth. He was still an elite athlete, still sharp at 168 pounds. Both camps, Bud's and Canelo's, dropped glimpses and teasers, building a story of contrast, the calculated sharpshooter versus the iron-forged champion. Yet beneath the highlight reels, the reality was the same grind: repetition, sacrifice. Still, history loomed. Canelo carried the aura of a man who had weathered storms, the weight of championships, the scars of countless wars. Crawford carried an unbeaten record, unmatched ring IQ, and the hunger of a man chasing immortality through risk. And when fight night came, it would not be the hype or the win that mattered. It would come down to the moments that could never be rehearsed, the split-second decisions, the lungs that refused to quit, the courage to take and to give. Because when everything else is stripped away...
Bud's going to do good. He's going to do good. But I don't think he's going to win. But I do see Bud, like, getting a lot of punches off, being able to tag Canelo with some good shots, but they have no effect. That's the thing.
He has the best chin that I've ever
Bro,
seen.
and nothing
in my
moves his head.
Boxing's living legend Roy Jones Jr., a man who once leaped weight divisions and rewrote possibility, offered his own voice to the storm. While critics screamed about size, Roy dismissed it with the authority of someone who had lived it. He saw Crawford's body rebuilt, not bloated but forged. When you've sparred with men bigger than you super middles, light heavies, you already know your lungs can breathe in that storm. If you survive them in training, you'll survive them in battle. Weight won't betray Crawford, but Jones went deeper. Canelo has one way to win a flawless, perfect fight. Crawford, he has 6. And if you give me a man with 6 roads to victory against one with only one, my money's going with the man who can adapt. Roy spoke not once, but across platforms the ring, all the smoke, and every time his words carried sharper edges. He admired Crawford's relentless hunger, his willingness to keep climbing even when he had nothing left to prove. And then came the doubt, aimed squarely at Canelo. Roy questioned if the Mexican great still carried that same fire. If he still burned with the hunger that once made him unstoppable. He never answered it directly, but the silence spoke. For Crawford, the climb was brutal. New division. Ring rust. A nightmare opponent. For the first time, whispers rose. Could he still impose his will, or had the peak already passed? Meanwhile, Canelo's shadow grew heavy with his last fight. A lackluster decision against William Skull? Fans excused Skull's negativity. But they noticed Canelo's struggles, the lack of urgency, the fading ability to cut off the ring. Was it just one night? Or was the armor finally cracking? But greatness has always lived in storms like these. Legends must answer doubt, survive skepticism, and rise again when the world believes they've already fallen. And in Roy's eyes, it's the man who still had that fire in his belly. The man who would step into the fire willingly was
one of the best. I just think that he's biting a little bit more than he could chew. But you never know. If anybody can do it, it could be Crawford. You know, I do see him like when he fights. I'm like, damn, how do you beat this guy? You know, he could do it all. He could box. He could bang.
But then Garcia's tune began to shift. What once sounded like unwavering belief in Canelo became something else: hesitation, doubt, recognition of a harder truth. He pointed to intensity. Canelo doesn't fight with the same fire anymore, Garcia said. Yes, he can counter. Yes, he can still be slick. But can he give you that second and third push, the extra gears he once had? Against Plant, against Bivol, we saw moments where his body betrayed him. He moved in strange ways, out of position, desperate to adjust. That's the danger. And so, the conversation came full circle. The fight was not just about size, not just about power, not just about skill. It was about hunger, fire, and the will to endure. And as the cameras fade, one truth lingers: this fight, like the battles of Hagler, Leonard, Hearns, and Duran, is not just a contest. It is an era-defining moment where legends are either confirmed or created,